To all those who have just clicked on this video, in this edition of the Daniel Saul Show, exclusively on YouTube, you're not going to want to miss this. So sit tight, because we're going to get into some big and deep stuff. We're talking about boxing. Okay, we're 1 week away from the biggest match since Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, and I'm talking about Canelo versus Crawford. All right, look, last time I talked about this fight, I was talking about resumes, okay? And today, I'm not going to be talking about that. I'm going to be talking about my final prediction for this mega match, Canelo versus Crawford. But first of all, obviously, I have to point out the obvious. I have to give y'all their height, weight, all that stuff. But we already know weight class they're fighting at, 168, so we already know what they're going to be at. We're talking about height, reach, southpaw, orthodox, whatever the case may be. Let's get into it. So obviously, Canelo Alvarez is 5'7", okay? He has a 70.5 inch reach, and we're talking about he's an orthodox fighter, okay? He doesn't switch. He can only fight orthodox. And look, great record. Obviously, he has 2 losses, 2 draws. But when we're talking about Canelo Alvarez, he's a once-in-a-generation type of talent. He's a once-in-a-lifetime type of talent. Okay, one of the best boxers in the world. Probably the best and greatest Mexican fighter ever to me. If not, he's definitely top 3. When you look at Terence Crawford, all right, Terence Crawford is 5'8", so he obviously has a height advantage. He has a 74-inch reach, so he has a 3.5-inch reach over Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford does. And obviously, Terence Bud Crawford is undefeated, 40-0. We love to see it. What is it, 31 knockouts? I mean, look, both of them are 2-time undisputed champions. Crawford is southpaw. He does switch, but he normally switches against fighters who he just wants to test out things. He wants to see if he can, fight orthodox just to, confuse them a little bit. But when it comes to fighters like when he fought Errol Spence, now Canelo Alvarez, people he knows are solidified in the game, people he knows he can't really mess around with, he's going to go and fight at southpaw because that's where he is at his best. We're going to go look at the betting odds for this fight according to DraftKings Sportsbook.com. When you look at the money line, it's going to be Canelo Alvarez, the favorite, at -180 versus the underdog, Terence Bud Crawford, at +145. When you look at the fight outcome, the winning method, you're going to look at Canelo Alvarez by knockout /TKO, +380. When you look at Canelo Alvarez via decision, that is +115. When you look at draw, +1600. Terence Crawford via knockout /TKO, we're talking about +850. And when you look at Terence Crawford via decision, it is +210. Now, when you look at the betting odds, okay, and the favorite is that Canelo Alvarez will win via decision. That goes against really what a lot of these analysts, boxing analysts, are saying. We're talking about Canelo Alvarez and Terence Bud Crawford and the way they box. And if Canelo Alvarez is favored to win by decision, that's basically saying that he's going to outbox Terence Crawford. Because when it goes off decision, it's really going off of who was the better boxer, who outboxed who. And in this case, I don't think Canelo's going to outbox Crawford. Let me make this very clear. I'm not saying he can't outbox Crawford. I'm just saying I don't think he will. When you look at Crawford, okay, he boxes better against people that are like Canelo. And what I mean by like Canelo, right, like Canelo, I'm saying people who are very stationary. Crawford capitalizes against fighters who are very stationary. And I want to make this very clear. That doesn't mean he's going to win. That just means he boxes better against them. When you look at Canelo, he fights worse against active and busy boxers. He's not good against busy boxers, such as Floyd Mayweather, Bivol, the 2 people he lost to. They were very active. They were very busy, and they had amazing skills. Obviously, everybody knows Floyd Mayweather, best technical boxer of all time. And when you look at Bivol, it shocked the world because nobody thought Canelo Alvarez was going to lose. But obviously, he went up to 175. Bivol's a bigger guy. We get that. But the reason why Bivol won the fight wasn't because he was bigger. He won because he was a better boxer. He had a lot of output, and he was punching through the guard of Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, the punches had to be powerful. We get that. But he never stunned Canelo. He pissed Canelo off. He never stunned Canelo or hurt him with his power. He used his power to get through the gloves and really dig deep, and he threw a lot of combinations. He was very active and busy and moved around the ring, and that's why he won the fight. Canelo doesn't fight good. He doesn't capitalize against fighters who are busy and move around and jab, stick the jab in through the guard and really throw some combinations and move around the ring and do it again and do it again. He doesn't like busy fighters. Crawford isn't necessarily a runner. He's going to fight toe-to-toe, but the difference is Crawford does have more output than Canelo, and Crawford is a very good counterpuncher, and Crawford does have good combinations that he throws. So altogether, he's a busier fighter than Canelo. He doesn't just stand there like Canelo does. He doesn't just follow people. He moves around the ring. He likes to break people down in the first few rounds, just like Canelo does. But Crawford does it too. Like I said before, like I said in the last video, I think their skills are equally matched. I think they're just as skilled as each other. The point is that Canelo Alvarez really is just stationary, looks for the hard punch, looks for the one knockout shot, and most of the time he doesn't get it. But he can drop you if you are caught lacking. If Crawford ends up leaving himself open, Canelo will capitalize. Okay, Canelo is a stronger fighter, and everyone knows it. He has more power than Crawford. We get that. But Crawford, because he's going to be more active in this fight, which I believe he will be, because of that, because he's going to be more busy and throw a lot more punches than Canelo, he's going to leave himself open and vulnerable to a shot that Canelo Alvarez most of the time capitalizes on. When he sees somebody open, when he times somebody out, he normally, most of the time, hits him. And with a guy like Crawford, who is smaller than Canelo, a smaller guy, I don't remember the last time Canelo really fought someone smaller than him, because he's a small 168 pounder. I don't know when the last time he fought somebody that small. Because he's small, the power is going to play a big role in this fight, which everybody knew already. So the question is, can Crawford not leave himself open and vulnerable while trying to capitalize on being active and busy to make Canelo uncomfortable in this fight? We'll have to see. But that's the questions, and that's the greatness, the sweet science of boxing, is that two skillful fighters going in the ring, really going at it. That's what we want to see in this fight, regardless of the weight difference, the weight classes that Crawford has to go up to fight Canelo. It doesn't matter. The truth is, they're two of the most skilled fighters in the world, and I truly believe that they are 1 and 2. And I do believe that this fight can live up to the hype. But the question is, how will it end? And that's what I'm going to give y'all today. I think this fight can go one of two ways. The first one being, in the 6th round, Canelo Alvarez catches Terrence Bud Crawford lacking. And what I mean by lacking, yet again, for better terms, is throwing some combinations, trying to make Canelo uncomfortable, and he gets caught. And Canelo drops him midway through the round. Crawford never really been hit with something like this, gets up, and then moments later gets knocked out. That is one of the two ways I think this fight will end. Canelo by KO in the 6th round. The second one being, Crawford has the fight of his life, okay? He fights the best fight he could possibly fight in the scenario, the predicament that he's in that ring, fighting a bigger guy. He goes in there, fights toe-to-toe, skill for skill. Boom. He just fought better that night and gets a split or majority decision win over Canelo Alvarez. One of those two things are happening. I'm leaning more towards the knockout in the 6th round. I think that the weight is going to be a big problem for Crawford. I think Canelo is going to use his size and use his power to his advantage, and I think he's going to bully Terrence Crawford in this fight. I think Crawford is going to do what everyone's telling him to do, really stick the jab, throw some combinations, and move around the ring. But that's only going to last so long. As we saw in the last fight against Madrimov, he kept getting hit through the guard, and it was tiring him out. No matter what Crawford was doing, he was moving around, throwing combinations, but he was getting hit by combinations. He was getting hit by the same shot, and it was hurting him. When you get tired like that against a fighter like Madrimov, imagine what Canelo's going to do to you. And that's why I think it won't last. I think Canelo is going to get the knockout in the 6th round and end this mega match once and for all. That is my prediction. Canelo versus Crawford. I have Canelo winning in the 6th round via knockout. Thank you so much for watching. I'll have more videos for y'all very soon. Till the next time.